Welcome to Peculiar You, the podcast. I am your host, Rachel Ruby, and I just want to start off by just saying thank you. Thank you so much. I don't take it lightly or for granted, but thank you for joining me here on the very first episode of Peculiar You, the podcast. Listen, before we get into this episode, I want to invite you to stay connected with me. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and maybe even a couple more things that I am Rachel Ruby. And then you can also visit my website to see what resources and things I may have available. It is also at IamRachelRuby.com. I look forward to staying in touch and connected with you. So here we go. Episode 1. Why a podcast and why now? Here's the truth. I have contemplated this for years. I've had people ask me to start a podcast for years. And I am a person that believes in the timing of God. And so I believe that this is a time like never before to, just step into this space of podcasting. And I keep encountering people and different things that just want to get into my mindset and just, may see me as an example. The Bible says that we're living epistles read of men. And so I don't take that responsibility for granted. I am a person that has sold peculiar items for under the brand Peculiar for a long time. Well, I shouldn't say a long time. Come on, Ray. For a couple of years now. And I think it's just so befitting now that I just explain the brand, explain what it means to be peculiar. And so that's one of the reasons that I want to jump into the space of podcasts. Number 2 is a personal reason, but it's true nonetheless. So in my journey, in my Christian journey, there's been times where I just have questions. There's times where I can't even articulate really how I feel. There's times where I just want confirmation of like, girl, you're not crazy. Like other people may be experiencing this too. And so in my Christian journey, I have found 2 podcasts that have really helped me, whether I'm driving to work or whatever the case is, and I have time, I listen to 2 podcasts. I know y'all nosy, so y'all want to know who the people is. That ain't right, Ray. Y'all want to know. Y'all might want to know who I have listened to in the past. So glad you asked. There is a Caucasian man by the name of Jeremiah Johnson, and he deals a lot with ministry and just processing the Bible, processing your role in ministry and stuff like that. And so I have thoroughly enjoyed his podcast through the years. And then also when I was in college, I attended Mount Zion. And so Bishop Joseph Walker, he also has a podcast. He does so much, and I'm really inspired by his journey. But his podcast in particular is dealing with leadership. And so I just thought I'd give y'all a little inside scoop of what I listen to, because I know y'all nosy like that. And 3, and probably most important, why a podcast and why now, is because to me, what I have found in my Christian journey is that community is extremely important. If you're going to stay focused on this Christian journey, on this peculiar journey, you're going to have to be surrounded by the right people. You know, grandma used to say like birds of a feather flock together, all of that, like you are who you hang around. And so I want this podcast to maybe even develop a community, maybe not here, but inspire you to go out and find your place. My pastor will always say you need a landing spot to become. So I want to encourage you to, go find your landing spot to become. Get planted in the right church. Get planted around like-minded people that have the intent to grow. We just not out here, kicking it, partying, and having a good time, but our intent is to grow. And so that is the reason why a podcast and why now. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I am your girl, your host, like I said, Rachel Ruby. And I am 31 years young. I reside in the beautiful state of Virginia. Virginia is for lovers. Although my family is from the great state of North Carolina. NC, stand up in this place. Yeah, so I'm in Virginia. I have done a lot of things, a lot of accomplishments in my life, but I'm really not here to talk about my resume. Because I believe, like Paul says, by the grace of God, I literally am what I am. I do what I do. It's all by the grace and the calling of God that he has on my life. And so I try to, as much as possible, walk in humility and just walk in the grace that he has made available to me. Let me tell you about my peculiar journey. So at 18 years young, I encountered God for myself. I grew up in a household that believed in prayer, that believed in going to church. I had to be honest, in my perspective, I had a good foundation, a good growing up. And it wasn't until I had an encounter with God at the age of 18 that my life changed forever. It was in Clarksville, Tennessee. I will forever love that city. I need to get back to the 931 at some point. But I will forever love that city. It was in Clarksville, Tennessee in July of 2011. I had just graduated high school. In 2011, I had what I like to describe. It's very hard to describe, but once you've had an experience, look, can't nobody take it away from you because it's my experience. But I have what I like to describe to other people as a Damascus Road experience. You know, the Bible talks about it in Acts where Saul, Paul, whatever you want to say, had a Damascus Road experience. And that too was my kind of coming to God for myself. And I remember saying this. It's so funny because, like I said, I grew up in a church home, but I gave my life to Christ on a summer night in my 95 Toyota Camry. And I remember crying out to God with tears streaming down to my face. And I said, Lord, I'm for real now. I surrender. I will live for you. You know, my parents planted the seeds of what it is to follow Christ, but I was ready. I was so tired of the weight of sin, condemnation, all kind of stuff. Just sin has torment, you know. And so I was tired of that. And I was like, Lord, I'm gonna stop running. I promise you, in the 95 Camry in the summer night, July, I said, Lord, I promise that I will live for you for real now. But this one thing, this is what I told God. Crazy. Ain't this crazy? I'm telling God something putting a demand on God as a newly saved person. I said, Lord, I promise to live for you, but I still want to have fun. I don't want to be a Christian, a follower of Christ that is, I guess the best way I can say it is just boring, just dry, just don't have fun, don't do nothing. Just it's Jesus, Jesus, Jesus 24/7. Don't get me wrong, it is still Jesus 24/7, but what I was trying to say as an 18-year-old that I couldn't really articulate is I wanted to live for Jesus full, with my whole heart, but I didn't want to lose my personality. I still wanted to laugh. I still wanted to have a good time. At the time I was a sneakerhead. I still wanted to wear my sneakers. I still wanted to have holes in my jeans. I still wanted to have my little country swang and my little mix of everything, my little mix of everything. And I still wanted to be me when I walked into a room. And so by the grace of God, I thank God that he has literally fulfilled my desires because I am walking into that now. And so what is it? 18. So 14 years later, I'm still walking with the Lord, still sharing my testimony and still trying to be that light for Jesus Christ and be peculiar. And so I have embraced this peculiar brand. And that's what I want to do for us in this space is just explain what it means to be peculiar, how to embrace this lifestyle. You can still have fun. You can still be saved and safe. You know, I want to talk about the ups and the downs of being peculiar, that you're not alone in this journey, but there are others that have gone before you that have experienced things and have overcome. And so I just want this to be a safe space to become. And listen, so before I let you go, we're about to conclude this episode. But before I do, I want to give a quick shout out to my mama, my madre. Yeah, Tammy L. Allen. I thank God for her. If you're watching this episode, it is Tuesday, September the 24th. This is when the episode launches. And we just want to give a shout out to her. Say happy birthday to her in the comments. Happy birthday to her in the comments. She has been a tremendous help to my life and to just getting this podcast started as well. So happy birthday to you, shout it. We thank God for you. Tell her happy birthday, y'all. All right, we concluding this episode, but the next episode will drop October the 8th. That's right. I'm trying to bring you something every 2 weeks, every other Tuesday. So the next one will be October the 8th. We'll break down what it really means to be peculiar and how to embrace this lifestyle. I want this to be a safe space. I'll tell you some stories I probably never said, at least in public, before. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to bring you the scripture and bring you biblical foundation on which we live and things as such. Listen, as we conclude, do me a favor. If this podcast has been a blessing to you already, say we already in episode 1 and it's already blessing me. Listen, do me a favor and text 3 people. Text 3 people right now and tell them, look, hey, hop on, subscribe, turn your notifications on, because you don't want to miss when Peculiar You the podcast drops. All right, until next time.